I'd like to help you create a practice plan for yourself. A couple things to keep in mind. Let's try to learn data in short little time period, little chunks of time, and motor skills can be a little bit longer without focusing mentally on it. So try to separate those two in your plan. So here's an idea for you. Remember the warm-ups we did in the technique section of this CD? Let's use those for the first part of the practice plan. Let's say do the warm-ups for 5 minutes. Next, let's go on to funk. Let's pick a funk lick or write a funk lick a day. And so for 3 minutes, short period of time, 3 minutes, learn a funk lick. Next part of your practice plan, sight reading. In your booklet, you'll notice a couple of pages. There's a page in there for reading notes and a page for reading rhythms. Let me explain the notes page first. The idea behind sight reading is once you know the notes on the base and you know the notes on the page, you can't know them any better or not. It's a question that you know them or you don't know them. The idea through sight reading exercises is we're trying to get more concentration. We're trying to be able to focus better on what those notes are and not get distracted. And at the same time, we're trying to get our eyes to move forward. So the note reading page, and this is explained in the booklet also, the idea is read it down as written, each line straight across, and you'll notice it's all just note heads. No stems, it's just 4 notes per bar, 4 bars per line. Second part of the exercise, go through and read the first bar, the third bar, the second bar, and the fourth bar of each line, right? This is getting your eyes to have to jump ahead at the end of the first bar. So you're reading the first note, the second note, the third note. You have to read that fourth note faster in order to get your eyes to jump ahead to where they're supposed to be to read the third bar, then the second bar, then the fourth bar of each line, okay? Maybe try reading the first bar and the fourth bar of each line. Again, you're getting your eyes to jump further and further. So you're starting to have faith that you're playing the right note while you're looking at a different note. That's the essence of sight reading. If you're seeing the note ahead of time that you're about to play, well, then you're not really sight reading, are you? That's like you're reading it for the second time. Even though it's a few milliseconds later, you're actually reading it for the second time. Maybe you're playing it for the first time, but you're reading it for the second time. So we're just trying to get the eyes to move ahead. Make it hard on yourself. Try reading the first bar, the last bar, second bar, second to the last, third bar, third to the last. All right? Pretty tough. Maybe read all down the first column, all up the second column. Okay? At this point, you're probably starting to memorize some of the page. Take that page, turn it upside down. There's no stems, it's fine. Turn it upside down, start doing it again. Except now, here's the next little thing for you. Let's pick an odd series of accidentals. Not a key, but let's say all G's are sharped and all E's are flatted. So now you're going to read this piece of music with all G sharps and E flats. So now you're getting this concentration thing going, okay, I got to remember, when these notes come up to make sure that I play them that way. Well, now you're going to keep all G's sharped and all E's flatted and read first bar and fourth bar of each line. So you're adding all these things onto it so that ultimately when all you have to do is read straight across the page, just the notes that are there, it's going to be a piece of cake because all of a sudden you don't have to think so hard. Okay? So good luck with the reading of the notes. That should help you quite a bit. Again, we're just developing concentration and getting the eyes to move ahead. Reading of the rhythms. This is a tricky little thing. I recommend a book if you really want to get down in reading rhythms like in a jazz sense. I love the Louis Bellson 4/4 text. You could walk a bass line, just walk a blues, but catch all the kicks that are in this. You'll see how the book is laid out. But I gave you a rhythm page also. So take a look at that rhythm page now in your booklet. And all I want you to do is read those rhythms 4 times each. And I only wrote it out once, but you can read it 4 times each and then move on to the next rhythm, and then the next rhythm, and then the next rhythm. Then go back and read them 2 times each before you go on to the next rhythm. And then come back and just read the 1 beat each. That rhythm, and then keep going, jumping down. You're getting used to these kinds of rhythms that you're going to come across all the time. And then the next page I gave you was a page of reading triplet rhythms, which is also can be a tricky thing. So good luck with the reading of the rhythms. I hope it'll help propel you into the next step. And I got to tell you, I'm willing to bet ultimately the reading of rhythms is going to be trickier for most bass players than the reading of the notes. The reading of the notes comes, but the rhythms is the thing that sort of separates the men from the boys. So get in there and learn it well. Next thing, let's go ahead and walk some tunes. So for the next 5 minutes of this practice plan, you're going to take any song, get the chord changes, you're going to look at the chord changes, and walk a bass line to that, just like we talked about, and just make it through the song. Here's a trick. Get the metronome to go at a relatively slow tempo and start to think of that as 2 and 4. It's tricky at first, but here's a way to get on track. Just say 2 or 4 on one of the snaps. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And start to walk. Having the metronome doing this is such a great tool to helping you create that groove on your own for a walking bass line. Next part, let's do some styles. So for 2 minutes a day, you're going to work on bossa nova. Take any set of chord changes to any tune that you like, and let's play it as a bossa nova. Next 2 minutes, let's do a samba for 2 minutes. Get your fingers used to lasting for 2 minutes at a samba. You'll find it's a bit of a workout. Next thing, let's do salsa groove. Pick a set of chord changes, blues, it can be anything. And you're going to start to think that salsa groove like we talked about over those chord changes. And it's going to be tricky at first because remember, when the chord actually changes, you anticipate it. That was part of that groove we talked about. So go ahead and do that for 2 minutes. The next part, let's transcribe something. What I mean by transcribe is listen to something that you like. It can be jazz, rock, funk, alternative, you name it. Something that you really like. Let's sit down and try to figure out what it is on the bass. And I'm not talking just about a bass line. Maybe it's a melody. Maybe it's a saxophone playing a melody. My introduction for this, for me in jazz, was I heard this great trumpet solo in a Blood, Sweat, and Tears tune, their version of God Bless the Child. And it was such a great trumpet solo, and I had to figure out what those notes were. Not only did I figure out what the notes were, but I figured out what the chords were and what were those tones against that chord. Like what? I love that one little move. I still remember the move. In fact, it's a line from Bach. It's the third of a chord to the flat 9, to the root, to the flat 7, you know, and it's such a jazz line, which is actually a Bach line. And, you know, anyway, that was my little introduction into transcribing. I transcribe a lot. In fact, I just transcribed something not too long ago from Michael Brecker. I encourage you to transcribe a lot. Find out what other players are doing. Find out all those things that you like that you can get from your favorite players and let them become a part of you. The next thing I want you to try is every day, work on writing a tune. Over the course of a week, you'll end up with a tune, or maybe a couple of weeks, even a month. It doesn't matter. Get used to composing. You're going to think of a chord. You're going to write a melody over that chord. Practice soloing over those chords and those series of chords that you're writing. You can figure them out on bass. You can hear them in your head. You can work at it at the piano. Spend time every day composing. Very important to your development as a musician as well as a bass player. Essentially what you're ending up with here is a 45-minute practice plan every day. I highly encourage you, in fact, I more than highly encourage you, do the practice plan through completely before you go back and want to take care of any special sections. Don't spend extra time on one section the first time through. Do the whole thing as it is every day, and then go back if you want to clean something up. Or do the entire practice plan twice. Also, there's another little thing here for you. Take a day off. Taking a day off causes two things to happen. One, it makes you think in your mind about things you've been working on, maybe the original tune you're composing. How much cooler to have the music internalized. This is forcing you to use your musical mind instead of actually doing it on the instrument. And the other thing it does is it creates motivation. It makes you want to get back to it with a greater aggressiveness when you finally can. So allow yourself to not touch that instrument for a day, 1 day a week. So there's a practice plan for 45 minutes for you. Hopefully that'll help you progress as fast as you want to progress. And I hope that gave you a few hints as to the way we work with learning our instruments. And thank you so much for spending some time with us. We certainly appreciate the time and energy that you're putting into your instrument. And, you know, we're bass players. We're the coolest. We just don't tell anyone that. But thanks, and good luck with all of your work.